The Aurelian spire hung in orbit like a blade poised above the galaxy. From a distance, it resembled a spear of polished metal piercing the black, its elongated structure surrounded by rotating rings of light. Closer inspection revealed the truth. It was not merely a station. It was a monument to power. A declaration that authority did not belong to planets or stars, but to those who ruled between them. Inside, the council chamber stretched upward in concentric tiers, a vast amphitheater of polished surfaces and cold geometry. Hundreds of delegates occupied their assigned positions, each species clustered in its own section, separated not just by space but by history, politics, and quiet hostility. Today, the chamber was silent. Not the ordinary hush of protocol, but something heavier. Expectant. At the center, a single platform remained empty. Reserved. For humanity. Admiral Elias Vorn stood at the threshold, watching the chamber doors slide open with a muted hiss. He didn't step forward immediately. Instead, his eyes swept across the assembly, reading the subtle shifts others might miss, the stillness of observers, the rigid posture of security units, the absence of routine chatter. Something was wrong. Behind him, Commander Hale spoke quietly. Unscheduled summoning. Full council attendance. No prior agenda. Vorn didn't look back. Which means it's not a discussion. Hale hesitated. You think it's disciplinary? I think, Vorn said, finally stepping forward. They've already decided something. His boots struck the polished floor with measured rhythm as he crossed the central aisle. The sound echoed farther than it should have, as if the chamber itself amplified each step. The delegates watched him, some openly, others through concealed lenses and flickering data streams. Curiosity. Disdain. Calculation. No welcome. Vorn ascended the platform without hesitation. The lights shifted subtly, focusing on him, isolating him against the vast backdrop of alien forms. Above, suspended in a lattice of glowing structures, the High Council presided. At its center sat High Chancellor Xyrix. The Velcora leader did not resemble any terrestrial life. Its elongated frame was draped in layered plates that shimmered between organic and artificial. Multiple eyes glowed faintly within its upper structure, each fixed on Vorn with unsettling precision. Admiral Elias Vorn, Xyrix said, its voice resonating through hidden emitters, layered and toneless. Representative of humanity. Vorn inclined his head, neither submissive nor defiant. Chancellor. A pause followed. Long enough to be deliberate. Then Xyrix spoke again. Humanity has grown. The statement hung in the air, neither praise nor accusation. Vorn met the Chancellor's gaze. Growth is inevitable. Ambition, Xyrix continued, is not. A faint ripple moved through the chamber. Some delegates leaned forward. Others remained still, observing. Vorn's expression did not change. Ambition is perspective. Expansion is necessity. Your expansion, Xyrix said, has exceeded expectations. Within approved sectors, Vorn replied evenly. As ratified by this council. A flicker of light pulsed through the upper tiers. Data exchanged silently. Judgments formed without words. Xyrix tilted slightly, as if examining him from multiple angles at once. And yet your military presence has increased in those sectors. Defensive fleets, Vorn said. Authorized under council law. An interpretation, Xyrix said. A fact, Vorn corrected. The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop. For a moment, no one spoke. Then another voice emerged from the upper tiers, belonging to a slender, crystalline entity whose surface refracted the blue ambient light. Several frontier regions report instability, it said. Piracy. Disruption. Loss of contact. Vorn's attention shifted. You're referring to human colonies. We refer to all affected systems, the entity replied. Then you have data, Vorn said. Because we do. A subtle tension passed through the chamber. Vorn continued, his voice steady. 3 colonies have gone silent in the past 6 months. No distress signals. No debris fields consistent with piracy. No survivors. Frontier risk. Another delegate interjected. Unavoidable. No, Bourne said, sharper now. Unexplained. Silence followed. Not dismissal. Avoidance. Bourne felt it clearly. The way the chamber absorbed the words without engaging them. The way attention shifted away, deliberately. He filed it away. Xyrix spoke again, reclaiming control. The frontier is unpredictable. Humanity chose to expand. We chose to grow, Bourne said. Within the system you established. And now, Xyrix said, that growth requires regulation. There it was. The purpose of the summons. Bourne remained still, but every instinct sharpened. Clarify, he said. The lights above intensified. A projection formed in the air, symbols, structures, data constructs arranged in a pattern that radiated authority. A tribute mandate, Xyrix announced. The chamber reacted instantly. Whispers. Flickers of agitation. Rapid data exchanges across species networks. Bourne didn't look at the projection. He watched the delegates instead. Some were surprised. Others were not. Member civilizations, Xyrix continued, will provide allocated resources, strategic access, and logistical support to ensure galactic stability. Bourne's gaze returned to the Chancellor. Mandatory? Essential, Xyrix said. Enforced? A pause. Then simply, yes. The words settled heavily. Bourne took a slow breath. His voice, when he spoke, was calm. Under what authority? The authority of this council. Ratified by whom? By necessity. That wasn't an answer. It was a declaration. Bourne let a moment pass, then spoke again. Humanity has existing treaties. Independent supply chains. Sovereign defense protocols. All subject to revision, Xyrix said. Without consent? Consent, Xyrix replied, is implied by membership. There it was again. Not negotiation. Assumption. Bourne felt it clearly now, the underlying structure of the conversation. Not dialogue, but positioning. Not discussion, but pressure. He glanced briefly at the surrounding tiers. At the stillness. At the absence of dissent. And then he understood. This had been decided long before he arrived. He looked back at Xyrix, his expression unchanged, but his voice carrying a new edge. You didn't summon us to negotiate. The chamber stilled. Every gaze fixed on him. Bourne held the silence for a fraction longer, then finished. You summoned us to submit. The words landed like a fracture through glass. For the first time, the chamber reacted without restraint. Movement. Murmurs. A shift in posture across multiple species. Xyrix did not move. Humanity, the Chancellor said, stands at a crossroads. No, Bourne replied quietly. Humanity is being placed at one. Another pause. Longer this time. Then Xyrix spoke, its voice colder. Consider your position carefully, Admiral. Bourne inclined his head once more, the gesture precise, controlled. I always do. He turned, descending the platform without waiting for dismissal. Behind him, the chamber erupted into controlled chaos, voices rising, systems activating, decisions unfolding in real time. But Bourne didn't look back. Because the truth had already settled in his mind. This wasn't diplomacy. It was control. And somewhere beyond the spire, in the silent void where human colonies had vanished, the real answer was waiting. The silence in the human delegation chamber felt different from the council's. Here, it wasn't political. It was deliberate. The doors sealed behind Admiral Elias Bourne with a muted thud, cutting off the distant murmur of the spire. Inside, the lighting shifted from the cold blue of the council chamber to a softer, controlled white. Screens flickered to life along the curved walls, projecting streams of encrypted data, star maps, and telemetry logs. Commander Hale was already at the central console. Secure channel established, he said without looking up. All internal. No Council relay access. Good, Bourne replied, removing his gloves and placing them on the table. Lock it down. Full blackout on outgoing transmissions. Hale paused, glancing up. That'll raise flags? They're already watching us, Bourne said. I'd rather they wonder why. A moment passed. Then Hale nodded and executed the command. The room dimmed slightly as the system shifted into isolation mode. Around them, a handful of officers and analysts stood ready, their expressions tight. No one spoke until Vaughan reached the center of the room. Report, he said. A young intelligence officer stepped forward. Lieutenant Aaron Cade, sharp-eyed, composed, but with a tension that hadn't been there a day ago. We've consolidated data from all affected colonies, Cade began, bringing up a rotating map of human-controlled space. Several points pulse red along the outer edges. 3 confirmed losses. 1 suspected. Vaughan studied the display. Timeline. 6 months, Cade said. Intervals are irregular. No pattern in location beyond proximity to Council borders. Distress signals? None, Cade replied. All communications ceased instantly. Hale folded his arms. Pirates don't operate like that. No, Bourne said. They don't? Cade hesitated, then expanded the display. We ran deeper analysis on residual energy signatures recovered from the last colony before it went dark. The room quieted further. What did you find? Vaughan asked. Cade took a breath. Weapon discharge patterns. High-yield, precision strikes. Orbital origin. Hale's gaze hardened. Military. Yes, sir. Which military? Hale pressed. Cade didn't answer immediately. Instead, he brought up another layer of data, spectral readings, waveform signatures, energy decay patterns. We cross-referenced with known technologies, he said carefully. No match in civilian or pirate databases. Vaughan's voice remained calm. And the rest? Cade met his eyes. It matches Council fleet signatures. The words settled heavily. No one reacted immediately. Not out of surprise, but because the implication needed no explanation. Hale broke the silence first. That's not possible. It's consistent, Cade said. Across all 3 incidents. Could be stolen tech, Hale argued. From 3 separate fleets? Cade shook his head. No evidence of that scale of loss. Vaughan watched the data rotate slowly in the air. Each red marker felt less like a mystery now, and more like a pattern waiting to be acknowledged. Bring up the last transmission, he said. Cade hesitated. There's no full transmission, sir. Just fragments. Show me. The room dimmed further as a distorted recording filled the space. Static crackled. Fragments of a voice emerged, panicked, strained. Not pirates, formation. Council. The signal cut abruptly. Silence followed. Hale exhaled slowly. They knew. They had seconds, Bourne said. Maybe less. Cade added another overlay. There's more. We recovered encrypted data fragments from a relay buoy near the 3rd colony. Decrypted? Vaughan asked. Partially. The display shifted again, revealing lines of decoded text, fragmented, incomplete, but enough to form a picture. Fleet designation. Velcora Command, authorization. Hale's jaw tightened. That's Xyrix's fleet. Vaughan didn't respond immediately. Instead, he turned slightly, looking toward the sealed doors as if he could see through them, beyond the chamber, into the heart of the spire. They're not hiding it well enough, he said quietly. No, Cade replied. They didn't expect anyone to look this closely. Hale frowned. Or they didn't expect anyone to survive long enough to report it. That landed harder than the data. Vaughan returned his attention to the room. Who else knows? Just this team, Cade said. Data was isolated before Council systems could access it. Good, Bourne said. It stays that way. A soft chime interrupted them. Hale glanced at the console. External request. Priority channel. Source? Vorn asked. Hale's expression shifted slightly. Ambassador Lyra. Independent delegation. Vorn considered it for a moment. Lyra's species held no military power, but they had something else, information. They listened where others spoke. Put it through, he said. The air shimmered as a holographic figure formed in the center of the room. Ambassador Lyra appeared as a slender, translucent form, her features fluid, constantly shifting in subtle patterns of light. Admiral Vorn, she said, her voice soft but clear. I trust you returned safely from the chamber. For now, Vorn replied. What do you want, Ambassador? No pretense, Lyra said, almost approving. Good. Then I will be direct. Her form flickered slightly, as if adjusting to interference. The tribute mandate is not new, she said. Hale exchanged a glance with Cade. Explain, Vorn said. It has been applied before, Lyra continued. Quietly. Selectively. To who? Hale asked. Species that grew too quickly, Lyra said. Species that resisted alignment. Vorn's gaze sharpened. And what happened to them? Lyra's form dimmed slightly. They complied, she said. Or they ceased to exist. The room felt smaller. Why tell us this? Vorn asked. Because you are being evaluated, Lyra said. And because the Council fears you. Hale let out a short breath. They don't act like it. Fear does not always appear as retreat, Lyra replied. Sometimes it appears as control. Vorn studied her. And you? I observe, Lyra said. And I survive. A pause followed. Then she added, more quietly. You are not the first to be placed in this position. But you may be the first with the capacity to refuse. The implication hung between them. Refusal means war, Hale said. Yes, Lyra said simply. And compliance? Vorn asked. Lyra's form shifted again, almost like a ripple through water. Slow extinction, she said. The channel flickered. I have said enough, she added. Be careful, Admiral. You are already being watched more closely than you realize. The projection vanished. Silence returned. Hale ran a hand through his hair. That's not a warning. That's a countdown. It's confirmation, Vorn said. Cade looked between them. What do we do? Vorn didn't answer immediately. He moved to the central display, studying the red markers again. 3 lost colonies. 1 suspected. Each one erased with precision. Not chaos. Design. They created the problem, he said finally. Then offered the solution. Control, Hale said. Compliance, Vorn corrected. Cade hesitated. If we present this to the Council, they'll deny it, Hale cut in. Or silence us. Not if we make it public, Cade insisted. Vorn shook his head. Not yet. Both men looked at him. We don't act without certainty, he said. And we don't act without preparation. Hale frowned. Preparation for what? Vorn met his gaze. For what happens when we say no. The weight of that settled instantly. Cade spoke carefully. You think it will come to that? Vorn looked back at the display, at the silent systems that no longer existed. It already has, he said. He turned away from the projection, his voice steady, final. They didn't attack us because we're weak. Hale's expression hardened. Then why? Vorn's eyes lifted slightly, as if seeing something far beyond the walls of the spire. Because they're afraid, he said. A quiet beat passed. Then, with absolute certainty. They're afraid of what happens if humanity stops playing by their rules. The council chamber was full long before the session began. Every tier, every platform, every observation node was occupied. Delegates who rarely attended proceedings in person had arrived, their physical forms or projections filling the vast amphitheater. Even the silent observers, those who spoke only through data, had activated visible interfaces. No one wanted to miss this. At the center, The platform stood empty, illuminated by a pale column of light that cut through the chamber's height. Above it, the High Council loomed, their elevated positions reinforcing the hierarchy that governed the galaxy. Admiral Elias Vorn entered without escort. The doors parted, and once again, the chamber quieted as he stepped inside. This time, the silence carried no uncertainty. It was sharper. Focused. They were waiting. Vorn moved forward with measured steps, his posture straight, his expression composed. He had not slept. None of them had. The decision ahead had stripped away the illusion of diplomacy, leaving only consequence. Commander Hale walked half a pace behind him, silent, watchful. At the platform, Vorn stopped. The light shifted, centering on him. High Chancellor Xyrix spoke immediately. Admiral Vorn, humanity has been granted the opportunity to respond. No formalities. No delay. Vorn inclined his head slightly. Then we will. A ripple of anticipation moved through the chamber. Xyrix continued, its layered voice resonating through the structure. The tribute mandate has been reviewed. Its necessity is clear. Stability must be maintained. A projection formed above the platform, complex, precise, impossible to ignore. Resource allocations. Fleet distributions. Strategic corridors. Every detail of compliance mapped in advance. Member civilizations, Xyrix said, will contribute according to capacity. Humanity's obligations have been calculated. Vorn didn't look at the projection. Calculated, he repeated. Yes. Without consultation. Consultation is inefficient, Xyrix replied. A few delegates shifted at that. Others remained still. Vorn's gaze lifted to the High Council. You're asking for access to our resources? Our fleets. Our territory. We are ensuring order. You're centralizing control. We are preserving balance. Vorn held the Chancellor's gaze. At whose expense? No answer came. Instead, another delegate spoke, a towering figure encased in layered armor, its voice metallic and precise. Human expansion has destabilized outer sectors, it said. Your growth requires regulation. Vorn turned slightly toward the voice. Our expansion followed council-approved routes. Your military presence has increased. Because our colonies are disappearing, Vorn said. A murmur spread across the chamber. Xyrix's voice cut through it. Unverified claims. Verified, Vorn corrected. The projection above shifted, expanding. Not the Council's data. His. A new set of images filled the air, sensor logs, tactical overlays, energy readings. Clean. Organized. Undeniable. The chamber stilled. 3 colonies, Vorn said, his voice carrying without force. Erased in 6 months. No warning. No survivors. The data rotated, highlighting impact patterns. Precision strikes, he continued. Orbital origin. Coordinated. The armored delegate spoke again. Piracy. Pirates don't use military-grade weaponry, Vorn said, cutting him off. He raised a hand. The projection zoomed in. Energy signatures resolved into clear patterns. Recognize these? Vorn asked. Silence. Then a flicker of movement among the upper tiers. Xyrix did not respond. Vorn's voice remained steady. We cross-referenced every known system. Civilian. Independent. Unregistered. He paused. No match. The chamber felt tighter now, as if the space itself had contracted. Except one, Vorn said. The projection shifted again. A designation appeared. Velcora Fleet. The reaction was immediate. Voices rose. Data streams spiked. Several delegates stood abruptly, their composure breaking. Hale stepped closer to Vorn, his presence solid, unyielding. Xyrix remained still. Fabrication, the Chancellor said. Vorn didn't look away. We expected that response. He gestured again. Another layer of data unfolded, encrypted transmissions, partially decoded, fragments aligned into coherence. Recovered from a relay buoy, Bourne said. Seconds before it was destroyed. The audio played. Distorted. Fragmented. But clear enough. Fleet designation confirmed. Velcora command, authorization received. The recording cut. Silence followed. A heavy, suffocating silence. Then, slowly, the chamber began to fracture. Explain, one delegate demanded. This violates council law, another said. Is this authentic? A third asked, voice edged with alarm. Xyrix's voice rose above them all. Manipulation, it said. Human fabrication designed to disrupt order. Vorn finally allowed a hint of emotion into his voice. Order? He repeated. He stepped forward, just enough to break the symmetry of the platform. You call this order? He asked. The projection expanded, showing the 3 lost colonies, now marked not as anomalies, but as targets. You erased entire populations, Bourne said. Without warning. Without acknowledgement. Sacrifices are required, Xyrix replied. The chamber went still. Not confused. Not uncertain. Still. Because the truth had just been spoken aloud. Vorn didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Sacrifices, he said quietly. To maintain control. Control ensures stability. At what cost? Vorn asked. No answer came. He turned slightly, addressing the chamber as a whole now. How many of you knew? He asked. How many of you chose not to ask? The silence stretched. Some delegates looked away. Others remained fixed, their expressions unreadable. Vorn's gaze returned to Xyrix. You created the threat, he said. Then offered protection. A necessary strategy, Xyrix replied. A lie, Bourne said. The word cut through the chamber. For the first time, Xyrix shifted. Humanity, the Chancellor said, its tone colder now, stands on the edge of isolation. No, Bourne said. We stand on the edge of clarity. Xyrix's eyes brightened faintly. Then choose carefully. The projection changed again. The tribute mandate reappeared, its parameters highlighted. Comply, Xyrix said, and retain your place within the council. The implication was clear. Refuse and lose everything. Vorn stood still. Behind him, Hale remained silent, but his presence was a constant reminder of fleets waiting, of decisions already set in motion. A soft tone sounded in Vorn's ear. Secure channel? Authorization. He didn't react outwardly. But something settled inside him. Final. He looked up at Xyrix. You want an answer? He said. Yes. Vorn took a step forward. Not aggressive. Not hesitant. Certain. Humanity will not comply. The chamber erupted. Voices rose in overlapping waves. Accusations, warnings, demands. Systems flared as delegates transmitted urgent messages across the galaxy. Xyrix did not move. Consider the consequences, the Chancellor said. I have, Vorn replied. You will stand alone. Vorn's expression didn't change. No, he said. We'll stand free. Another surge of noise. Hale stepped forward now, standing beside him. Xyrix's voice cut through the chaos. Then humanity chooses conflict. Vorn met its gaze. No, he said again. He paused, letting the moment settle. Then he delivered the words that would fracture the council. Humanity chooses itself. The chamber went silent. Not gradually. Instantly. Because everyone understood what came next. Vorn straightened slightly, his voice clear, carrying to every corner of the spire. Effective immediately, he said. The United Systems of Humanity terminate all diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council. No hesitation. No ambiguity. Trade agreements are void. Military cooperation is withdrawn. Council authority is no longer recognized within human space. The words echoed across the chamber. Across the station. Across the network that connected every listening world. Hale spoke quietly, just loud enough for Vorn to hear. There's no going back from this. Vorn didn't look at him. There never was. Above them, Xyrix remained motionless. But the structure around it flickered, data streams surging, commands issuing, plans accelerating. The illusion had ended. Vorn turned, stepping away from the platform. This time, no one tried to stop him. Because the moment had already passed. The Council had made its move. Now humanity had made theirs. And somewhere beyond the spire, in the silent void between stars, the consequences were already unfolding. The moment the transmission ended, the galaxy held its breath. Inside the Aurelian spire, order fractured. Signals flooded every channel. Emergency protocols activated across dozens of species. Delegates abandoned their stations, some transmitting frantically, others retreating into secure enclosures. The controlled structure of the Council dissolved into noise. At the center of it all, High Chancellor Xyrix remained still. Mobilize, it said. The command propagated instantly. Across Council space, fleets began to move. Admiral Elias Vorn didn't watch the chaos unfold. He walked. The corridors of the spire stretched ahead, silent compared to the chamber behind him. Security units stood rigid along the walls, their sensors tracking him, recalibrating. No one attempted to intervene. Not yet. Commander Hale kept pace beside him. We've triggered everything, he said. Council fleets are already repositioning. Expect it, Vorn replied. Closest strike group? Hale asked. Outer perimeter, Vorn said. They'll test us first. Hale nodded once. Then we show them. They reached the docking ring. A human vessel waited, sleek, unmarked, its hull absorbing the surrounding light. No insignia. No declaration. Only function. The ramp lowered. As Vorn stepped aboard, a voice greeted him. Admiral. The bridge came alive around him, displays igniting in synchronized sequence. Officers moved with controlled urgency, each action precise, rehearsed. Lieutenant Cade stood at the central console. All fleets are responding, he reported. Command authorization confirmed across all sectors. Vorn removed his gloves, placing them beside the console. Status. Phase 1 complete, Cade said. All civilian transports redirected. Colony evacuation protocols initiated where possible. Hale glanced at the display. And the fleets? Cade's expression shifted. They're already in position. Vorn looked up. Show me. The main display expanded, revealing the map of human-controlled space. But it was no longer marked by scattered points. It was layered. Hundreds of signals pulsed into existence, formations emerging from deep space, from shadowed orbits, from positions that had never been registered with the Council. Hidden. Waiting. Hale exhaled slowly. We kept them quiet. We kept them safe, Vorn corrected. The ship vibrated subtly as it disengaged from the spire. No clearance requested. None needed. Outside, the Aurelian spire loomed, its vast structure reflecting the distant glow of the system's star. Around it, Council vessels shifted, their formations tightening, uncertain. Watching. Any interference? Vorn asked. Negative, Cade said. They're holding position. They're deciding, Hale said. Vorn nodded slightly. They thought we'd hesitate. He turned toward the forward viewport as the ship cleared the docking ring. They're about to learn we don't. The first contact came 3 hours later. Admiral, Cade said, voice steady. Council fleet detected. 8 vessels. Approaching Epsilon boundary. Vorn stepped closer to the display. Composition? Mixed class. 2 heavy cruisers. 6 escorts. A message, Hale said. Not a war. Not yet, Vorn replied. He studied the formation. Tight. Confident. They weren't expecting resistance. Open channel, Vorn said. A moment later, the connection established. A council commander appeared, its form partially obscured by armor and interface overlays. "Human vessel," it said. "You have violated council directive. Stand down and prepare for compliance." Vorn didn't sit. "We are within human territory," he said. "You are not authorized to be here. Authorization is no longer required," the commander replied. Hale's jaw tightened. Vorn's expression remained unchanged. "Turn back." "Or?" the commander asked. A pause. Then Vorn spoke, his voice level. "Or you will be removed." The channel closed. Silence settled across the bridge. "They won't turn," Hale said. "No," Vorn agreed. Cade's hands moved across the console. "They're advancing. Weapons powering." Vorn didn't raise his voice. "Deploy," he said. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then space shifted. Around the council fleet, darkness fractured. Shapes emerged, first as distortions, then as forms. Human vessels, dozens of them, materializing from stealth fields that had concealed them completely. They appeared above, below, behind. Every angle. Every vector. The council formation faltered. "Target locks established," Cade reported. "Hold," Vorn said. The council commander reappeared, its composure gone. "Humanity," it said, voice sharp now. "You are escalating." "You entered our space," Vorn interrupted. "You ignored our warning. This is your final." "No," Vorn said. "This is yours." A beat. "Disarm," he said. "Withdraw. Or we will disable your fleet." The commander hesitated. "Just long enough." "Fire," Vorn said. The engagement lasted less than 30 seconds. Human vessels moved with precision, no wasted motion, no overwhelming barrage. Targeted strikes. Weapons systems disabled. Engines crippled. Communications severed. The council ships drifted, intact but powerless. Silence returned. Cade looked up. "All hostile systems neutralized." "Casualties?" Hale asked. "None detected." Vorn nodded once. "Recover survivors. Escort them to the boundary." Hale glanced at him. "We're letting them go?" "They're not the message," Vorn said. He turned back to the display. "We are." The transmission spread faster than any fleet. Across the council, across independent systems, across worlds that had never questioned the structure imposed on them. Humanity had refused. And survived. On the bridge, Cade monitored the incoming data streams. "Multiple species are requesting clarification," he said. "Some are reconsidering their positions." "They've seen enough," Hale said. "Not yet," Vorn replied. He moved to the central console, activating a wide-spectrum broadcast. "Prepare transmission," he said. "Open channel," Cade confirmed. Vorn stood still for a moment, gathering the weight of what came next. Then he spoke. "We will not conquer," he said. His voice carried across systems, across distances measured in light years. "We will not dictate. We will not impose." A pause. "But we will not submit." The words settled, clear and unyielding. "Humanity stands independent," he continued. "We recognize no authority beyond our own. We will defend our people, our worlds, and our future." Another pause. Longer this time. "If you seek control," he said, "stay away." The transmission ended. Silence followed. Not fear. Not uncertainty. Something else. Understanding. Hale leaned slightly closer. "That's going to change everything." Vorn looked out at the stars beyond the viewport. "It already has," he said. Far from the spire, far from the council, human fleets moved with quiet purpose. Not expanding. Not conquering. Holding. Watching. Ready. For the first time since joining the council, humanity stood alone. Not isolated. Not vulnerable. Free. And across the galaxy, one truth began to take shape, slowly, but undeniably. Humanity had never been asking for a place among the stars. They had been deciding whether the stars were worth sharing.
All hands prepare for evacuation. Shields up now. What tank? Smooth. The enemy fleet is closing in. Prepare all forward batteries. Shields to maximum. Fire my kind.